What a day it has been in the state of Alabama. A legend steps aside. Alabama football recruiting rolls on, and Media Days gets a big dose of the old ball coach. Talking about Nick Saban. We'll have it all and much more right now, only on Tider Insider Television.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Carrie Harris.
I have to tell you, ladies, this year was the most memorable year of our career.
In the middle of SEC Media Days, big news as longtime Alabama gymnastics coach Sarah Patterson and her husband David step aside. Good evening, everybody, and welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock. Pepsi Cola tonight on the docket, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris. That is refreshing.
Yeah.
It has been a busy, busy day, Rod, and we were all, of course, set to lead the show off with SEC Media Days. What else we thought in the middle of July would top the sports news, but that all changed this morning when Sarah Patterson announced that she was retiring after 36 seasons as the Alabama gymnastics coach. 1,006 wins and 6 NCAA championships, Rodney, 8 SEC titles, 32 consecutive NCAA championship appearances, 29 regional championships, 8 SEC team championships, as I mentioned, Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. She is a legend. She is one of the pioneers as far as taking women's collegiate athletics to the next level. And I know we all knew this day would come. And there's a look at Dana Dobransky-Duckworth, who will succeed her as head coach. But still, to have it happen now is a surprise.
What was it, 36 years?
36 years.
36. Now, can you imagine 36 years and never losing to your arch rival? How about that?
That's
110-0?
Yeah, just
Wow.
amazing streak against the Auburn Tigers. That's why the Champions Plaza is named the Sarah Patterson's Champions Plaza. And you know, Rodney, she does have no major health concerns as far as her well-being going forward, but she's going to need double knee replacement surgery. She's going to have one done here in the near future, then have the other done by Dr. Lyle Kane. She said that weighed on her mind, and after talking it over with David, of course, she's had, you know, incredible success, but she has 2 daughters. Jessie is already working for the University of Alabama. Jordan just wrapped up her eligibility as a softball player, so they're, you know, adults now, and just felt like this was the right time.
What a shoes that Dana Duckworth has to fill, though. You know, I mean, think about the success that Sarah Patterson has had on this level, which is, you know, one of the greatest programs, greatest runs in the history of the sport, certainly. And, you know, now she's got to step into that role, so it's going to be certainly interesting to watch.
Speaking of that, Rod, great segue, because here is Sarah Patterson and some advice for her successor.
This, Dana, you need to know this, is the best coaching job in the country. Our memories, our friendships, and our love for this great university will last a lifetime. Thank you.
And Dana Duckworth, you see her there, is a natural. She was an NCAA champion as a gymnast under Sarah Patterson and David Patterson at Alabama. 6 years an assistant. She's one of the top choreographers in the country as far as dance routines on the floor is concerned. And she has longtime assistant Brian Rashilla, who's expected to remain on the staff. And, oh gosh, I guess he's been here around 20 years. That's one thing about Sarah and David. They had such chemistry in their staff and continuity. I think they only had 2 other assistants other than the 2 I mentioned the entire time that they were here. So it should be a seamless transition, and Sarah and David will still be around. I know they probably won't pry too much, but it'll be nice for Dana to be able to go to them when she's got a question.
And they have a good relationship.
That's right.
So that's certainly always helpful. You're not talking about bringing someone in who feels threatened by the shadow, so to speak. And, you know, they have a great relationship. I know that Dana Duckworth's noted to be an excellent recruiter, evaluator, and all of that stuff. And so I think that certainly, you know, you don't find any reason there, certainly just looking at it from the outside, that, you know, the program should slip.
And in Sarah Patterson fashion, along with Athletics Director Bill Battle, they had talked about this for some time. We're able to keep it under wraps, keep it off social media, which is amazing. And then she really made the announcement in an open letter this morning, a portion of which we have for you right now, a very much her style to be, you know, down to earth and just relate to the people. And do we have that part of that letter to read? Okay, so well, she did it in an open letter and just thanked everybody that made it so successful, and you know, very understated, but at the same time, she is definitely going to be missed. But as you said, Rod, Sarah leaves it in good hands with Dana Dobransky-Duckworth and Brian Rochilla, and recruiting's been great, so Alabama should continue to be a national power.
Yeah, I think that certainly it's kind of one of those things where you just hand the baton, and I think that Alabama continue to be extremely strong.
All right, now on to SEC Media Days. We do have to transition, and we'd like to thank Union Furniture Company for sponsoring our Media Days coverage. You can find them across from the train station on Greensboro Avenue. I know you've heard that a few times. Day 2 just wrapped up from the Hyatt Regency over in Hoover. Lee Smith was there all day to cover the action. Lee, the Sarah Patterson news even bled over into SEC Media Days, didn't it?
Thanks, Gary. There wasn't really nearly as big as a buzz at SEC Media Days so far this year as there was last year. But news of Sarah Patterson stepping down as head gymnastics coach at Alabama definitely made the rounds here in Hoover. And one person who noticed rather quickly of the news was Commissioner Mike Slive of the SEC. And he actually came to our TV room to personally address the situation, and here's what he had to say.
We have legendary women's coaches, you know, and I think when you talk about Pat Summitt, you can also talk about Sarah Patterson in the same breath. She is that kind of a pioneer, that kind of a great coach, and who, along with others, have elevated her sport in our league to a place where we are preeminent, where fans love to come to watch our gymnasts compete.
And the headliner here in Day 2 of Media Days was South Carolina head coach Steve Spurrier, who is often critical of Alabama head coach Nick Saban and has really poked a lot of fun at him the last couple of weeks, saying he works too much and he's overloading, but he could be doing the same if he just cut out some of the work. And today, Spurrier tried to set the record straight, and he said that Nick Saban is definitely worth every penny.
I think they've had 5 #1 recruiting classes out of the last 6 years, which has got to make him the greatest recruiter in the history of college football. And arguably, they've got the greatest collection of football players ever assembled for a college team. They're the favorites. They're the favorites. There's no question about that. And as long as they can recruit like that, they're always going to be the favorites.
And Steve Spurrier definitely loves seeing this guy, Stephen Garcia, the former quarterback of the Gamecocks, up until 2010 when they beat Alabama and played a near-perfect game to do so. Garcia is actually in the media now, and you will hear from him tonight at 10 on his latest developments in his life. Now, moving to another quarterback, really potentially a great player, is Dak Prescott, the Mississippi State quarterback. And he played really good going into the end of last season. But this year he says they need to step it up if they want to compete with Alabama on the same field.
Of course, not being able to play that game, and like you said, we had them on the ropes, and just having to sit down and watch that. I'm excited about that game, and I'm excited about every game, though. Our team is really good, and I know that defense to be able, and with this offense just getting better each and every day, and this defense pushing us will be good.
So a whole lot happening here. Media Days, that ends Day 2 of Tuesday in Hoover. And tomorrow on the docket, of course, Steve Shaw, the head coordinator of SEC officials, and Gary Pinkel. So that will do it from Hoover. Live at Media Days, I'm Lee Smith, WVUA Sports.
Thanks, Lee. Great job over there, along with Bradley Whittington and Wyatt Carruthers. And thanks again to Union Furniture Company, our good friends over there, for sponsoring our Media Days coverage. And let's not forget, Alabama gets its turn at the podium on Thursday. I'll be live in Hoover on Thursday with the sports at 5 and 6. Nick Saban will be joined by Amari Cooper, Landon Collins, and Christian Jones. So it'll be Bama Day on Thursday. And I'm sure one of the topics of conversation, Rod, that will come up, big defensive tackle Jaron Reed out of East Mississippi Community College, potentially a starter on the defensive line, will face some type of discipline from Nick Saban after his arrest this weekend. Reed was arrested for DUI after a minor traffic accident in a parking lot. He was released on $1,000 bond. Reed was considered, as I said, a front-runner for a starting position on the defensive line this season. His arrest was the second in 8 days involving a Tide football player. Nick Saban always issues a statement, and this is generally very much in line with what he usually has to say, as he basically says that they will take discipline, and he's disappointed in Jared's actions. And this is obviously not the kind of behavior we expect from our players. We'll evaluate the situation and determine the appropriate discipline so better choices and decisions can be made in the future. Rodney, this isn't just an Alabama issue. This is an issue with college kids all over campuses. It's disappointing, but it happens, and you address it, you handle it with discipline, and you move on.
And I think Alabama, Nick Saban does a really good job of doing that, Gary, handling these situations and moving on. And certainly a lot of times, you know, we've seen players that have made a lot of progress from it.
All right, catch your breath if you can. We're going to catch ours. More Tider Insider TV is coming up when we return, including a look at the brand new college football playoff trophy. Plus, it was a banner day on the recruiting trail for the Crimson Tide again. After all, Steve Spurrier just today called Nick Saban the best recruiter in college football history, and he's working on 2016. We'll fill you in on the details when we come back. And also, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. 205-348-WVUA, 348-9882 is the number. TITV at WVUATV.com is the email address, and you can reach us on Twitter, hashtag Tider Insider TV. The only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide as you're looking live at SEC Media Days at the Hyatt Regency in Birmingham is Tider Insider TV. And we'll be back with more right after this. It's so long to the Crystal Football, and hello to this, the new trophy to be awarded to the winner of the college football playoff. It weighs in at a hefty 35 pounds, though, so lifting it won't be quite as easy as the Crystal Football. Well, that's what high school football players come to Alabama to do, lift that national title trophy at the end of the season this week. And today specifically, the rich, Rodney, get a little richer in terms of recruiting for the class of 2016. 3 commitments, 2 coming today. Let's run them down for you, and let's start with the guy that got it started on Sunday, Benito Jones, good-looking, active defensive lineman out of Waynesboro, Mississippi, Wayne County High School.
Yes, he really is, Gary. He's been a great player in high school. He plays at Wayne County High School in Waynesboro, Mississippi. He'll be one of the top defensive linemen in the country, you know, in his class. So it's a big early pickup for Alabama.
And you know what? It just kept on coming today with a couple of guys that are rated incredibly high. Let's talk about the cornerback, Saheem Carter out of Kentwood, Louisiana, the other being a 5-star wide receiver out of Savannah, Georgia, Demetrius Robertson. First, your thoughts on Carter?
Both outstanding players. You look at Carter, Gary, he's going to be probably one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the country. You consider that Alabama already has a commitment in this class from the #1 corner in Minka Fitzpatrick, and now Carter next year, who's some people think he's 1 or 2. So obviously Alabama fulfilling their needs in the secondary with great corner prospects.
And Demetrius Roberson, a wide receiver that can go get it.
He's just a really fantastic player. Gary has offers from many of the top schools around the country. Not only is he a fantastic receiver, but he is also a fantastic defensive back, safety type player. So again, we're talking about major pickups early if Alabama can hold on to them for, you know, a year and a half till we get to signing day for that class.
You know, I agree with Steve Spurrier. How Nick Saban keeps doing it, I don't know. It is unbelievable. Well, it seems like just yesterday, Greg McElroy was coming from Texas to Alabama as a wide-eyed freshman quarterback. Now, after leading the Tide to a national championship and a short stint in the NFL, he's an analyst for the SEC Network. B.J. Milliken caught up with Greg at SEC Media Days this week to talk about the Crimson Tide.
Here with Greg McElroy. Greg, I heard your voice getting a little scratchy. It's your job now, man. You got to be ready. You got to have the pipes. How's it been this first media days as a media member?
Well, I think I'm just starting to work them out a little bit. You know, they're just strengthening up. They'll be fine. I'm hanging on. I'm having a good time though, covering the SEC and talking to all these people. It's been a lot of fun.
You need to get with Coach Cochran, right?
No, I don't know if I could yell as loud as him doing any of this coverage. I might be as excited as him watching this and participating, but I don't know if I could ever show that kind of excitement and intensity.
Well, how exciting is it, though? The SEC Network is giving you an opportunity to get behind or in front of the camera. It's an exciting thing for SEC fans all around, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's fun for us as former players and having a bunch of guys here that played, talking with them, reminiscing with them, talking with guys that covered us over the course of our careers. That's really a rewarding part as well. And, of course, getting to meet all these tremendous coaches and players. It's been a lot of fun so far. Looking forward to continue on day 2 and day 3 and day 4.
Keeps going, doesn't it?
It never ends. I love it.
New quarterback coming in for Alabama this year. You were that first-year guy who came in, won a national title. What are you looking forward to for Jacob Coker this year for the Tide?
Well, I think it's going to be, obviously, he has big shoes to fill. I mean, the fact that A.J. McCarron left as one of the best passers in Alabama history, and what A.J. was able to do, not only on the field, but what he was able to do off the field and inspiring the guys and demanding the most from him. So I think it's a difficult situation to replace, but I think has the talent level to be able to handle it. It just depends on how comfortable he is within the system and how the players around him basically pick up the slack for his basically inexperience within that offense. But I think they'll do a nice job, and I think Alabama will be able to go out there and kind of lean on that running game, which is what they probably should do. And as a result, I expect them to have a great season.
You were on the roster, losing the last 2 games of the 2008 season, coming back the next year. You won it all. What's the motivation like when you end a season that way?
Well, I think the fact that you're just trying to play the next game, because I know Nick Saban has been preaching about how we do not want to look like we did against Oklahoma. We do not want to look like we did in the last fourth quarter against Auburn. You know that's what Nick Saban's preaching to his team. And as a result, I think they're going to be really anxious to get that bad taste out of their mouth against West Virginia.
Greg McElroy, the next TV star for the SEC Networks. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, VJ and Greg. Next up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. You see the information is going to pop up on your screen here in just a moment on how you can get in touch with us. 205-348-9882. Email us at titv@wvoatv.com or tweet at us, #TiderInsiderTV. We got more when we come back to this jam-packed edition of TITV. More Bama players landing on preseason watch list. Trey DePriest, Reggie Ragland on the Butkus list. Landon Collins, the Thorpe Award watch list. Amari Cooper named to the Bolitnikoff watch list. All those guys excel at their positions of linebacker, safety, and wide receiver, respectively. All right, let's get right to the Med Center phone lines, and let's start off with our buddy Joseph tonight in Tuscaloosa. Joseph, how are you?
What's going on with your partners? How y'all feeling?
All right, partner, get to it.
Hey, people, all this, now, is there going to be some suspensions for Kenyon Drake and Jaron Reed?
Say again now? What about Drake and Reed?
Are there going to be some suspensions for Kenyon Drake and Jaron Reed?
We don't know what will happen. Coach Saban will handle that discipline. His track record says that, something will be done. I don't want to speculate on what.
Drake missed the opener last year.
He did.
The Chick-fil-A game. So certainly you hope not. I mean, you'd like to see them play, but at the same time, discipline has to take over. And I think, Gary, when you look at it, Nick Saban will make that decision.
All right, let's go to Sylacauga and talk with another good friend of ours on the program. Charles is with us. Hey, Charles.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well. Go ahead, man.
Will Jasper Fowler get more touches this year?
We've talked quite a bit about him on the program. Will he get more touches in terms of the running game? We'll have to wait and see. I definitely think he's going to be involved in the offense. I think he's part of the plans, whether it be as a lead blocking back in the pass game and also possibly carrying the football. I do think that Lane Kiffin sees him as a valuable asset potentially for what they want to do.
Kiffin has a history of using the fullback. As a receiver, as a runner, as a blocker. I think you'll see him in there quite a bit, and the eye set, whatever they decide, however they decide to line up. But I think you'll see Justin Fowler in the game more. Now, will he actually carry the ball more? I don't know.
All right, still more ahead on Tider Insider TV. Coming up, an update on an Alabama basketball player having surgery, plus a controversy over an Alabama flag. Where it's at is what'll get you going. And coming up, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. You see the information again on the screen on how you can get in touch with us, so go ahead and call in, email, or tweet now. We'll be back after this. Alabama basketball's second leading returning scorer at 9.5 a game, Retno Basahan, had ankle surgery recently. Good news is it reportedly went well, and he should be good to go in time for the upcoming season. Let's head right back to the Med Center phone lines and talk to Tommy here in Tuscaloosa. Hey, Tommy, you're on the program. Go ahead. Tommy, you with us? All right, Tommy wanted to talk about Bo Scarborough, the running back that everybody. Tommy, you there? All right, what about the Bo Scarborough? Any updates there?
Well, there's not, Gary. I mean, he's still trying to qualify. I think whatever the work is that he has to get done, the best thing to do is to always wait and just allow the process to play itself out, because you start predicting academics, you're going to get in trouble. And, I really don't want to speculate on it. I think Bo has a good chance to get eligible, but the best thing is to wait and see.
All right, let's go over to Birmingham and talk with Bill. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Good
Go
afternoon.
ahead. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to see who's going to be the starters on the offensive line.
Well, it's a good question, Bill. I wish I could, give you the answer right now. But again, we've got to go through fall camp. But when you look at it, certainly, you know that Austin Shepard's back, Ryan Kelly's back. You look at Ari Kwanjo at left guard; he's returning. Again, I think Cameron Robinson, the true freshman, has a great opportunity. He moved in front during the spring. I think the spring allowed him an opportunity to get acclimated to everything. And Gary, I think that certainly is a key. Him having that opportunity to go through 15 practices in the spring. Now he's gone through the summer program. He'll have 29 practices in the fall. And so I think he's got a great chance to start at that left tackle spot. But again, who's going to be that right guard? Is it going to be Leon Brown? Will it be Grant Hill? Will it be Dominic Jackson, the junior college player? They have a lot of pieces, Bill. I think they have a lot of pieces to the puzzle. They have to just kind of put them all together.
Yeah, Bama loses Steen and Cyrus Kwanjo, but they need to get better up front, no doubt about it. More coming up on Tider Insider TV, including the story of a construction worker fired for being an Alabama fan. The problem is where he was doing construction at. We're back after this. All right, here you go. Dateline College Station, Texas. Kyle, Phil. Construction underway to upgrade that stadium and make it one of the finest in the country. It's already a nice one. But that's an Alabama flag hanging at Kyle Field.
Look at that.
A construction worker put it up. He was fired. Wow. Although the construction company would not officially comment on the reason for his termination, but I think we figured it out.
Yep, and I've got something here for you. An officially licensed University of Alabama putter. You can find these at Dick's Sporting Goods, Alumni Hall here in Tuscaloosa, but Dick's Sporting Goods across the state of Alabama. That's for your 50th birthday.
Late birthday. Thank you so much. We're going to Buddy's to eat dinner tonight. Join us. You can catch a replay of the show tonight at 10:30. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Good night. Thanks, man.